Hello Flosstube and welcome to another video. I am Ros Clark. This is Ros Clark Craft here on YouTube, and you can also find me on Instagram and Etsy. Huge welcome if you are someone who has subscribed recently. Having spent ages, it felt like, sort of just hovering near the 400 subscriber mark. Suddenly I'm nearly at the 500 subscriber mark. That is amazing. I think we're at 483 when I checked this morning. So there is going to be a 500 subscriber giveaway. It will be really fun if we got there before Christmas. Almost certainly the giveaway will be after Christmas. But I've got things that I've been collecting. I think it'll be a really fun giveaway. So do tell all your friends, get them to come and subscribe, and then hopefully we can celebrate with a giveaway. Right, what else have I got to talk about today? I'm going to do a little WIP parade. It's quite small. I don't like loads of WIPs. I was on the Stitch Across the Pond Zoom call last night, and I said, I think I'm showing you all my WIPs. And since then I've thought about it a bit more, and that was not quite true. So I am going to show you all my WIPs. I have got one other unfinished object that I have not even attempted to work on this year, and I don't know when I will come back to it again. So I'm not going to bother showing you that because it really is in quite a lengthy time out. I haven't given up on it. One day I will do it, but not anytime soon. That is A Saviour's Praise. So I'm going to do a little WIP parade. I've got some Advent roundup to talk about. I've got some Stitchy Kindness in the form of a smalls exchange. And then there is quite a lot of news about Christmas, what I'm going to do on the channel for Christmas. Stay tuned for that. And Stitchalong, what that's going to be. I'm much further along in my planning for that, and I've worked out when I'm going to be releasing it and all of that jazz. So stay tuned for that. But I'm going to start with my WIPs. I hope it's not too dark. I just turned the lights off because, yeah, it was giving really bad sort of light and shadow contrast. So I hope you can see anyway what I'm going to show you. Now, I'm not going to show you this very first one because this is the Stitchalong. I did a very tiny sneaky peek of it in the Zoom chat last night. So I'm going to do a very tiny sneak peek of it. Now, this is the back. This is only a quarter done. I've chosen very, very bright colours. You ready? 1, 2, 3. That's it. If you pause on that, you might be able to get a little bit more of a glimpse, but hopefully there will still be enough secrets with that. I've been absolutely loving stitching on it, by the way. It's been really nice. The kind of stitching that's not hard, but also isn't boring. That is what I've aimed for. And for me, I have definitely succeeded in that. I've been really enjoying seeing how it's coming together and doing the work on that. So anyway, more on that later. The other thing I've been stitching this week, although not very much, this is my Evertote Roxy Floss Co Modern Folk Embroidery Holiday Countdown. We are on day 10. Behold, days 3.5. I think that's right. I did all of the first day, which was this dark green that makes that top zigzaggy bit. I did the next day, which I think was the candelabra-y bits, and that triangle. Was the triangle on the first day? I think so. It's now so dark I can't actually tell which is the dark blue and which is the dark green. But anyway, I did all of the dark green. Those are 2 greens. There we go, did both of those. I did most of the pink. There is supposed to be already some stuff down in the middle, which is going to be, so the date is there and one or two other things. And I think if you look at the needle minder and the ornament that came on day 1, you get a sense of what will be there. I am sort of deliberately holding back on that because I'm not sure that that's what I want in the central part of mine. I did all of this quite pale greeny grey, and then I've done a bit of this is dark blue here, and then live sort of took over, and I was also doing the stitch along prep and so on. But actually, I'm not gutted about that, because quite a lot of people have said some of the counting around here is really quite hard. And because obviously I've opened the envelopes, I'm not stupid. So I've opened them all and I've got the floss and so on. And actually, having able to look further ahead, I think what I'm going to do is stitch some of them in a different order so that we can do more sort of framing pieces down here, and then it'll be easier to count some of those sections. So this afternoon, I'm filming this on Sunday the 10th. I'm hoping this afternoon and evening, maybe not quite to get caught up, but certainly to make some progress on that. I am really enjoying it. It's not something that, and I sort of knew this when I ordered it, that it wouldn't be typical for me. They're not my typical colours. It's not absolutely my typical style, but I am really enjoying it. And it's really nice to stitch something out of your style, out of your comfort zone every so often, because it's just a little bit of a day. And I do definitely plan to get it finished more or less by Christmas. You know, if I'm still stitching on Boxing Day, that's fine, but I don't want to be taking forever over it. So it will just be a nice thing to have done for this Advent. More on which later. Okay, other WIPs that I forgot about. Well, I didn't forget about this one actually, and I did show this one. So this is my 50th birthday Stitch 50 project. I started it on my 49th birthday this year, back in April. And the goal is to have finished it before my 51st birthday in 2025. So ideally, I would have done about a third of it by now, I think. Yeah, we're going to have to speed up a little bit. This is also on Roxy Floss Count Ada, by the way. It comes with gridded Ada, but I really like this piece of razzmatazz. And what I think it means is, if I'm really fed up with it, I might not stitch the sky. And I think also, because am I stitching it with one thread? I can't remember. I think I am stitching it with one thread, and I think it might be 20 count Ada. Yeah, anyway, I mean, don't believe a word I say. Don't trust any of it. It's something, and it's something, but it's definitely Roxy Floss Co Razzmatazz. And I think what little of the colour of the fabric is showing through is actually bringing everything together in a really lovely way. So this part here that I've stitched, that's part of the house, you can definitely see it's not solid white, but actually I think it's going to work really nicely. So I may end up not doing all of this sky section. We will see how I feel by then. But either way, I need to get a move on. So that's a work in progress. So that is 3. The Stitchalong, the Countdown, the Gecko Rouge. I had forgotten entirely that I started this. So this is, I'm pretty sure, 40 count Platinum. These are various shades of Aversoir 103. And this is going to be Dream of a Winter Garden by Modern Folk Embroidery. It's a relatively small start. It's not a huge sample. It's not one of his big ginormous pieces, but nonetheless. And I think what I might be aiming to do is stitch on this between Christmas and New Year, and into January as well if I need to. But because hopefully by then I will have finished the Stitchalong piece and the Holiday Countdown piece. I do want to work on the Gecko Rouge, but I might also do some work on that. What else have I got? There are 2 other WIPs, turns out. Who knew? Not me. One is the thing that I started at Stitch in London and left behind. And I need to check, actually. Marie found it and was going to send it to me. So, I mean, I assume she just hasn't got around to it yet, which is completely fine. But it's just possible, I suppose, that she's posted it and it's ended up in Royal Mail oblivion. So we'll see. I mean, it's fine. I didn't have a huge start. I can't remember what I was stitching it on, but I mean, I'll find something else. So I may have that in progress, or I may just need to restart. And then the other thing, this is going to be a sampler piece. I don't remember what this is stitched on, but I think it's the other half of whatever I started, the bird pincushion. So that was by Chloe, Girl with a Gavel Stitch. Is one of the freebie charts we got at Stitch in London. That was the bit I left behind that Marie found. So I think this is the other half of that fabric. And what it's going to be is a sort of patchwork sampler with a lot of motifs from stitching themed pieces. So far I've done this little bit from the freebie from Puntini, I think, please enter your pin. I obviously haven't stitched the pin cushiony bit of that. So that is something that is going to be an ongoing project that I'm just going to pick up here and there when I want a little palette cleanser. And I was thinking about doing them in sort of separate pieces and making them into a little book, and I still might do that, but I'm going to stitch them all on that. So that really is all my works in progress. I do not like having lots of works in progress, which is why I'm not trying to do 50 starts next year or anything of the kind. I do get really stressed by that. I don't mind having more than one if they're clearly in different categories. So for example, one that I'm working on that's a design that needs to be released, that's fine. One that's my long-term project, the Gecko Rouge. But for example, that's why I'm not doing a Saviour's Praise at all at the moment, because if I'm working on a long-term piece, it's the Gecko Rouge. And so I needed to sort of take a Saviour's Praise out of commission at that point. So maybe when I'm 51 and I've finished that, maybe that's when I'll go back to a Saviour's Praise. So yeah, one design, one long-term project, you know, maybe one gift for a swap or something like that, and then, you know, one other piece. So at the moment, that really is the holiday countdown. And then when that's done, I'll go back to Dream of a Garden. But I don't like to have lots of things queuing up. I part of it is I just really love the fun moment of, oh, what am I going to stitch next? I could choose anything, rather than already having a list of 20 things lined up in order to do. I like that sort of, you know, what do I really most want to do in the world now moment, and being able to feel like I'm free to do it without having the guilt of having a whole lot of other things that are not being done. Different people are different, but that is where I'm at with that. So that's what I've been stitching on, and that is where I'm at in terms of what I'll be stitching over the next few weeks. Other things to show you, so let's carry on with Advent. Obviously there's the holiday countdown. There is my actual lovely little Advent calendar card. So this is, I mean, it's proper old school with little pictures of the nativity. So I'm going to read this out to you. I'm sorry, if you're not interested in this, it's fine. You can skip forward. But we had day 1, Mary on the donkey. The people that have walked in darkness have seen a great light. Day 2, let me find it. Up here, nothing really on the front. His name shall be called the Prince of Peace, little dove. So that you see they're really tiny pictures and really tiny verses, and I kind of love that. The angel Gabriel was sent by God to Nazareth. Up here, number 4, don't be afraid, Mary, says the angel. You know how we often make angels look kind of like chubby little children and, you know, sweet as whatever. Almost always when someone in the Bible meets an angel, the first thing they have to say is, don't be afraid, it's all right, because obviously they are terrifying. You will give birth to a son and call his name Jesus. What's that, number 5? So number 6 is down here. He will be great, his kingdom will never end. So he's got a crown. Number 7, the angel appeared to Joseph in a dream. That must have been a scary dream. Quite difficult situation, obviously, for Joseph, discovering that his wife that he's not married yet is pregnant. So the angel has to say, don't be afraid to take Mary as your wife, said the angel. Number 9, the Roman emperor commanded everyone to be taxed. That's quite a, I don't know if that's a Roman emperor really. He looks a bit more like a Roman soldier to me, but I could be wrong. I'm not very expert on Roman military ranks. And then number 10 today, Joseph and Mary went up to Bethlehem to be taxed. It's all about tax. That is the Christmas story in a nutshell. It is all about tax. Yeah, it's not. Anyway, I thought this was really lovely, and if you wanted to send a proper Advent calendar Christmas card, this is from Elios Cards by 1311 Designs. So I shall keep going with that. So I've got that one. I've got my jigsaw Advent that I'm working on. I haven't got a picture of that to show you. I have got my Hotel Chocolat Advent. The messages on this, I'm not going to read all of these. They're not quite as profound. Number 1, let the countdown begin. Number 2, chocolate for breakfast. Well, it is Christmas. Number 3, as one door closes, Number 4, list as long as Santa's. Here's a little lift. And so on and so on. There was one that was really... oh, here we go. The natural fact. First chocolate advent calendar. Guess, guess, guess. 1958. All I want for Christmas is chocolate. I mean, it's not far off, I suppose. Yeah, so anyway, but the chocolate is very nice. So I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying all the others. Since I last spoke to you, I can't remember who I was talking to who had this. This is the Bon Maman advent calendar. I was slightly hoping that ordering it in December there might be a slight discount, but there wasn't. However, I have to say I was super impressed and continue to be super impressed with this advent calendar. So I paid £33 for it, and when it came in the box you also get a really nice hardback cookbook, seasonal cookbook, Bon Maman cookbook, really nice. You got a Bon Maman printed reusable shopping bag, and a little teaspoon for tasting what's in the advent calendar. So there are 24 days. I mean, I like a 25-day calendar myself, but 24 days. 17 of them are little glass jars of jam or similar. 6 of them are herbal teas, and 1 of them is something else. I think the something else is on day 24, because that's got a bigger thing. So they're not all jam, and I have to say herbal tea is not a thing I love, but I'm working on it. But what I really love about this, so I did open today's and eat it, I'm afraid. So and I haven't got the thing to show you. So let me open. This is day 11. Yeah, this is day 11, and it has got a thing. So they're the size of jar that you might be used to seeing in sort of hotels and things on the breakfast table, but they are not the flavors that you will be used to seeing. So this one is cerise au bail rose, so cherry and rose, maybe. There is a list on the back of here which has it in English, helpfully. So let's have a look at what this one is. This is tomorrow's. It is, here we are. Oh no, cherry with pink peppercorn. There you go. So that'll be interesting. What are the ones I've had so far? I've had apricot and banana. I have had strawberry and guava. Mirabelle plum with spices. That was delicious. Blackcurrant. Oh, today's was quince with chunks. That was delicious. Nectarine and peach with lemon verbena. I can't remember which else we had down here. But anyway, so really interesting flavours, and that's what sold it to me, because 17 jars of Bon Maman strawberry jam or raspberry jam, I mean, it's fine, but I can just go and buy a jar of strawberry jam. I cannot just go and buy jars of cherry with pink peppercorn, or fig with cardamom, or sweet orange guava and lime. I mean, don't they sound amazing? And they are amazing. Every one I've tried so far, absolutely amazing. So I've been really, really loving that. And with the teas, so there are 6 of them. What's slightly weird with the teas, and I think if I had a criticism of the advent calendar, it would be this. There's nothing, as far as I can see, identifying which of the 6 teas the bag that you get is. It doesn't seem to have any label attached to it, so you have to kind of guess. And I thought, well, you know, it is a long time since I've tried herbal tea, because I've always just assumed I don't like it after the first times I've tried it. And I've been watching Yasmin's Made with Love, and she has her tea calendar, and often I have noticed in her herbal teas she will add a spoonful of honey, and sometimes milk as well, which I thought was a real no, but apparently it's delicious. Anyway, so I thought, well, actually, do you know what? I'm going to try. I've got some honey in. So I tried one of them yesterday. I put a teaspoon of honey in it. I didn't know what it was going to be, but it definitely smelled of aniseed. And there are 2 flavours listed that contain star anise. And I think what I had was the après dessert, after dinner herbal tea, star anise, blackcurrant, lemon balm, marshmallow, Brazil pepper. And it was fine. I mean, I drank it all. It's not super strong, and I suddenly realised why people who have herbal tea leave the bag in, because you need to leave it in for about half an hour before you can actually taste what you're drinking. I don't think I would have liked it at all without the honey, but it was fine. So I think I am going to try them. I've only got 1 of each kind, And I quite enjoy the guessing game of which flavour do I think I've got today. And because there are ingredients that overlap between quite a number of the things in different combinations, I think that will be actually quite a fun game. So yeah, I thought actually for £33, I'm like, oh, that is quite a lot for a little tiny jar of jam. And you know, if the only thing you're interested in is these, you do end up paying nearly £2 for each of these, which is quite a lot. But actually you get a lot of other things. You get the cookery book, you get the bag for life, you get the teaspoon, you do get the teas. That's not really a great selling point for me. And we get whatever we're going to get on day 24. And it's really beautifully packaged. And yeah, I thought actually this, and it's, you know, it's a nice treat to have. It's very different from having a chocolate every day. I don't have any complaints about a chocolate every day, but it is very different. And it's like, well, I could have a jar of piece of toast or a croissant and try my new jam on that. So anyway, I must remember that's tomorrow's that I already opened with you. So that is all my advents. That is all my works in progress. I have had some Stitchy Kindness. And actually, I've already put it up. So I'm just going to put a picture in here. This little pillow in the middle. So it's quite fun. This whole display includes my Stitch in London Christmas Smalls Exchange pieces from last year and from this year. So last year, Noreen sent me the robin. So that's the bigger piece in the hoop. And this year, Chloe, Girl with the Gavel Stitches, sent me the little pillow, Heap Up the Holly. And I've got the card here, so I can tell you all about it. It is Stitchalong's Vigot 40 count vintage country mocha in almost all the called for threads. Design is by Beth Twist of Heartstring Samplery. Heap Up the Holly. And I just love it. I love that we've got two little birds and they've both got holly in, and they just sit together, and they both just remind me of lovely times at Stitch in London and lovely people, Noreen and Chloe. Chloe also sent some chocolates for me, some treats for Charlie, which she didn't have to, but he loves those very much. Thank you, thank you, Chloe, and thank you, Jasper. And also some pins and scissors, and yeah, it was just a lovely bag as well that they sort of came in. So it was really sweet. Thank you so much, Chloe. I enjoyed that enormously. I have sent all of my Smalls Exchange pieces. I sent, actually this year, one of them went to Noreen, who I received one from last year. So that was really lovely to be able to send her one. And I've sent one that's gone over to America. So that will take a little bit longer to get there, I guess. And I've also sent out my two pay it forward gifts. Earlier this year, near the beginning of the year, I offered a pay it forward swap so that anyone could sign up for, and I would send them something by the end of the year on condition that they would then offer to pay forward to somebody else. So it's not a swap or an exchange. I'm not getting anything back, but I have finally got around to sending those out. I did remember, very proud of myself for this, I did remember to film those before I sent them all out, but I will wait a little bit longer to give them a chance to arrive before I show you all of that. But it's nice. So all of that sort of stitching is off my plate at the moment. I haven't got anything that I'm stitching to anybody else's deadline, or that I'm stitching, you know, for a specific thing. I'm stitching things that are what I want to stitch. I mean, one of those is my stitch along, but I want to stitch it, and it's only me who's deciding that. So let me tell you where we're at with the stitch along. In fact, no, before that, in case you're not interested in the stitch along at all, last year I did a YouTube live for an hour on Christmas Day, and it was lovely. There weren't loads of us, and I was not expecting loads of us. Obviously, quite a lot of people are very busy on Christmas Day, but not all of us are. I will not be very busy on Christmas Day this year. And even if you are very busy, sometimes it's really nice to have a reason to take a little bit of time out. And I'm very happy to provide that reason for you if you need it. So I think it's going to be, no, it is going to be 6 till 7 UK time. Early evening, 6 till 7 UK time. I know that won't work for everybody in the UK, and it certainly won't work for everybody around the world. I can't be on all day to see whatever time suits you. So my Christmas Day will be quite quiet. My brother and his family with the children are going to be over at their in-laws, so it will just be me with my mum and dad for lunch on Christmas Day, and when lunch is over, I will come home. I like a quiet Christmas. I do really struggle with Christmas for a whole host of reasons, so I like it when it's a quiet year, but that means I will be back in plenty of time to get set up to chat to you for an hour live from 6 till 7 p.m. And you're welcome to come for as much of that time or as little of that time as you can manage. You're welcome to come with questions. You know, that's sort of how the live works really nicely, is if people are commenting and asking questions. So you get to type those in the comment thread and I can read them and reply to them. So, I mean, do feel free. It's not really, I didn't really mean to make it all about me, but if you've got questions you want to ask me about, you absolutely can. I have quite a lot of experience in a lot of different crafts. So maybe, I don't know, you've taken up a new craft for Christmas, or you've been given a kit and you don't know what you're doing with it. Feel free to ask and I might have some advice with that. Feel free to show us bring and tell us what you're stitching on, or if you got Christmas haul. It's extremely unlikely that I will have Christmas cross stitch haul, but you never know, I suppose. I will have, what will I have? Don't know really. I will find things to talk about, no doubt, and I will be stitching. It would be nice. I might have finished my Everto holiday countdown, or I might be stitching on that to try and get it finished. Who knows? But yeah, come and share what your plans might be for stitching over the next year. We'll just be chatting. It will be very relaxed, and it will just be a quiet moment in what can be a busy day, and a moment of spending time with people on what can be quite a lonely day. But, you know, whatever your Christmas Day is like, whether you celebrate Christmas or not, if you'd like to come and spend an hour with me and whoever else shows up, I will be here 6 till 7 UK time, Christmas Day. 2 weeks tomorrow. I know. So that is Christmas. Right, so then I just want to talk a bit more about the Stitchalong. So I now have, the whole thing is charted, the 12 separate charts to release are worked out. I've stitched 3 of them, and I'm, making really good progress, and I will definitely have the rest of this stitched. I mean, maybe, yeah, certainly by Christmas. And so having been doing the stitching, that's really helped me. And thank you as well to everyone who commented with your thoughts about the best schedule to release this on. It's definitely not going to be once a month, because I really feel that would be dragging out what is actually quite a small chart unnecessarily. So the whole chart comes out at about 6,500 stitches. So if we were to divide that into 12 equal parts, that's just over 500. It's about 550 stitches. For each part. I don't think that needs to take a month. Because of the way that I have split the parts up, the first 3 or 4 are quite a bit bigger than the others. So the first one is about 900 stitches, and then the next 3 average about 750 stitches. And then after that, they're all much smaller, 500 stitches, 400 stitches. Some of them are not even 400 stitches. And that's because there is a frame. Yeah, there are multiple frames. But anyway, there is framework, let's say that, around the main stitched areas. And really, in order to help make the counting easier, and therefore the whole stitch hopefully more fun, I've put more of the frame at the beginning. Because I just think it's much easier to count stitches than holes. And I didn't want it to be a piece that ends up being frustrating to people because they end up miscounting and having to redo it. And because of the nature of the design, it's not that easy to fudge mistakes. And I'm just looking at mine now and thinking, I wonder if I've made one. Anyway, I think we might have to go and sort that out. But in general, it's not. So I want you to have the best chance of doing it right first time. And that meant putting in frame rather than splitting the frame into 12 equal parts, putting more of it at the beginning. So I think that's okay, because I think in general, when people start stitch-alongs, you're much keener at the beginning than at the end. So I think it's okay if the bigger parts are at the beginning. And they're not enormous. None of them are more than 1,000 stitches. I think the biggest one is just over 900 at the beginning. And then they all get smaller after that. The first, like I say, I think the first 3 or 4 are noticeably bigger, but even they are not hard. So I think here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to release the first 4 parts with 2-week gaps. And after that, I'm going to release it weekly. And that means hopefully it's really easy to keep up, but also, I mean, if you don't keep up, it's fine, isn't it? And if you can't keep up at one point and want to try and catch up later on in the schedule, you know, like I say, if there's a week where it's 350 stitches, you can probably catch up from the previous week of 400 stitches if you needed to. So I think that will work, and that way it will keep moving. But I wanted to give you a fair chance of really keeping up at the beginning. And so I thought, well, I'll just give you a little bit extra time for those first. So the first part will be out the first Sunday of January, and I think New Year's Day is a Monday, so I think that means it's all the way to the 6th. Do you want to do that, or do you want me? Maybe I'll release it on the 31st of December, and then if you wanted to do it as a New Year, New Start, you could. I think maybe we'll do that, because I will be ready by then. So we'll have the first piece on 31st of December, then 2 weeks later, 2 weeks later, 2 weeks later, and then every week. And that means we should be finished in just over 3 months. So maybe well, Easter's really early this year, so maybe not quite by Easter, but I think by the end of March. I need to just work that out precisely what dates that will look like. But I think it will be by Easter or thereabouts. So hopefully that'll be a nice thing to do in the first few months of the year, and manageable and finishable. It's really exciting. I think a number of the people who've started subscribing to the channel recently have done so because they're interested in the stitch along. Do make sure you've watched the video about choosing your colour palette for the stitch along. What I will do when I release the first part, or maybe I'll put it on the description of this video as well, is give you the 12 DNC numbers that I have used for the model stitch. But please don't use my own. Please make your own palette. That's the thing that I think is really fun about this, is hopefully everybody's will look different because everybody will have chosen their own colour palette. So you need 12 colours plus black, and your 12 colours should go around the colour wheel. Red through to orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, coming back to red. And so between each of those primary colours, you want 3 divisions. So red, red-orange, orange, yellow-orange, yellow, and so on. So go back and watch the video. Have a lot of fun playing with colours. It's been so nice to see people really enjoying that, and people starting to feel like they've got much more of a sense of how colours work and therefore control over colours. I'm going to do, and I think it will be next weekend, my sort of next colour theory video, where I'm going to be talking about colour substitution. So I'm going to use some examples of previous patterns where I've substituted either 1 or 2 colours, or whether I've changed the entire palette, and how and why you make choices about colours. And you know, you may think I'm somebody who's never going to substitute colours, I just want to always do the called for, but you can't always do the called for. You can't always get the fabric, or dye lots change. So even if you are the sort of most designer-led person in your colour choices, you still need to have some understanding, I think, of how to make good colour substitutions. But also, I mean, I've never felt like the designer's choices need to be my choices. They are suggestions, but it's my piece. I'm doing the stitching. It's going to be on my wall, or I'm going to give it to my friend. So I'm in charge, and I can choose the things that I like best. So if you have ever looked at a pattern and thought, do you know, I do really love that, but, you know, I'm just not really a pink person. Or, you know, that would look really nice in so-and-so's house, but I just think, you know, she would have preferred it if the house had a blue door, or whatever it is. You know, it can be really minor things, or, like I say, entire changes. But you can then make your charts work for you even better. I think that's it. You're in control, and you can make the chart be what you want it to be, rather than just having to be precisely what the designer chose. So that's going to come next weekend. And then the weekend after that, we won't have a Flosstube, but we will have Christmas Live on the Monday. And then maybe at some point, so I don't think I am going to try and do 12 days of Christmas videos this year. Last year I did from Christmas Day through to 12th night, but by the end of that felt quite hard work. So I don't think I'm going to do that this year. I do want to do a 2023 finish parade sometime between Christmas and New Year. So you could watch out for that. And then there will be, oh, this is news. Good. Seasonal jacks. So the final seasonal jack autumn will be taken down on the 21st of December. And at that point, I will be putting them all together and making them available for sale in my Etsy shop. I may not put them all together, actually. I think I'm going to sell them as individual charts. But nonetheless, that's when they will all be available from the Etsy shop, as will my medieval nuts from the Forest Friends magazine. The Stitch Survive Thrive design that I did for the Cancer collaboration, I'm going to make that a freebie from my Instagram bio. So I will need to get that set up. But if you are somebody who's enjoyed stitching the seasonal jacks, I do have a little bonus pattern for you. I don't know if I will manage to stitch it up before I release it. We'll see. But I have a little Christmas themed one, and I was going to put it up on the 21st, but actually that's very soon before Christmas. So if you wanted to stitch it before Christmas, I think I will try and put that up this week, maybe later today. So that will also be available as a little freebie to download, and probably that will only be up for a month as a freebie, and then again that will go into the Etsy shop along with the stitching jack that I've got. So yeah, so I've got quite a lot of pattern work to do just to get things that are already stitched and designed mostly actually into the shop or into the Google Drive to download. So I do want to try and get on with that quite soon as well. I think that's everything. Yeah, I mean, watch for YouTube to choose one of those as my thumbnail. Yeah, I hope so. So I hope you're not hating too much of the really horrible weather we are certainly getting at the moment. I hope you're able to stay at home and keep warm and stitch. I hope that if you are stitching for Christmas, you're not too far behind and too stressed about it. And I hope to see some of you live. Well, I'll be here, like I said, next weekend. I'm going to do the colour video. But I really hope some of you will join me live on Christmas Day. All right, take care. See you soon.